Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bella. I am currently part of the Disney College program for Spring Advantage 2022. I wanted to sit down today and make a video answering all of your questions that I've been getting on Instagram. I did a little poll to get some questions that you guys have, so I'm gonna sit down and answer as many as I can today. These questions are kind of all over the place, so I'm gonna try to kind of organize them so they kind of go together. Obviously, everything I'm saying here is 100% my opinion and experiences with the Disney College program so far. None of this represents the Walt Disney Company, but this is just what I've experienced so far and how I've been enjoying things. I know everyone has a completely different experience here on the DCP, and this is just what I've had so far. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope this helps. And if you're thinking of applying, definitely do so, and I hope these questions can help you decide. The first question I received was, who made me want to do the DCP? And this is a hard question because it wasn't just like a specific person. I kind of found out about it when I was younger. I'm not really sure how. I have been wanting to do it pretty much my whole life since I knew about it, but definitely when I was probably like 10 to 12 years old, I found out about it and I started watching YouTube videos. I watched a lot of vloggers growing up and saw their experiences on the DCP and really wanted to be a part of it ever since I can remember. I've always wanted to work for Disney since I was a kid. I've been taking trips to Disney since I was born, so this has always been a dream of mine to work here. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do the CP or just try to work at Disney after college, but I did end up making it work with my school and everything to come here during college. So it kind of just worked out perfectly. Everything just kind of aligned, even though I didn't think it was going to. The world just put it all together that I could be here, and I'm so thankful for that. Watching vloggers and people's Instagrams while they were on the CP was something that really inspired me to want to do the CP, as well as seeing cast members on the college program in the parks and hearing about their experiences from them. Another question I got was how I met my friends on the DCP and if we had met beforehand or if we met when I was here, and it was actually a little bit of both. So there is a Facebook page that a lot of people join when they get accepted to the DCP where you can kind of post about yourself when you're looking for a roommate, and I met some of my friends through there. I did make a post when I got accepted about kind of my interests, what I'm like, just pictures of me, my Instagram, so people could kind of get a feel of my personality to the best that I can over social media, even though I know it's really hard. I met a few people on the Facebook page and started talking to them. One of them was Rachel. I started talking to her in September. So we were talking for probably 4 or 5 months before we got here. I wasn't talking to a lot of people just because I had a lot going on at school. So I know a lot of people had friends that they had been talking to for months, like a ton of people before they came. I really only had like 1 or 2 that I was talking to a lot. So I had talked to Rachel before. I met everyone during the Welcome Week events and just like hanging out, going park hopping, and I met people through mutual friends a lot. Me and Grace actually linked as roommates before the program. So when the dorms registration came out, we found each other on the Facebook page because we had the same dates and we decided to link. So me and Grace were talking a little bit before we came. And then we just instantly became best friends because we're the same person and it's perfect. So that just worked out really nicely for us. And then some of my friends that I'd made online and some of the friends Grace had met online, we all kind of just started talking, and I met a lot of people during that welcome week. A lot of my friends, though, I did not know at all before I came here. I just met them around Flamingo, at the parks, that kind of stuff. It really can be a lot of different things. I know a lot of people meet before, a lot of people meet here, so honestly, don't stress about it. You will find your people and you will find people to hang out with, especially at the events and living around Flamingo, as well as your roommates. I got several questions asking me about the cons of the DCP because I know a lot of the vlogs and videos just show the amazing experiences and more so the pros. But I'm definitely open to talking about the cons. I know that it's not all just rainbows and happiness in parks all the time, but even though I'm having the best experience, there definitely are cons and things that aren't the best, and I know there's things for me that don't bother me much, but other people it might, so I'll just tell you some of those. For me, the biggest con so far has been the bus system because I did not bring a car to Flamingo, so I rely on the buses for transportation to the parks as well as work. I take the bus to and from work every single day, so that's something that's a big part of my life here, and the buses are very frustrating at times. I had a lot of issues, especially at the beginning, with the buses not coming on time, having issues, and that messing me up getting to work on time. So I did have 1 or 2 times where I was late to work because of the buses, and my leaders are super understanding of the bus system and that it's not my fault. So they have been changing my time and been really accommodating towards me and the other CP at my location with that. And I'm sure most leaders are like that, because it's not really our fault. We rely on the buses. We don't have transportation, so that is Disney's problem. So do not stress about that much. For me, it wasn't as much my leaders getting mad at me that I was worried about. It was more so just me personally getting stressed out and the buses adding kind of stress to my life. They have gotten a little bit better and more consistent as things have been settling in, because I know they had to add the new stops when West opened, when we moved in. So I know that was a little chaotic, but things have definitely gotten a little bit better with the buses. There's been issues though with drivers not knowing where to go or just crazy stuff happening on the buses. So I know that they're much better than the old CP buses used to be, but there are still issues. So if you're not bringing a car, just be aware that you do need to get to work early, and you need to make sure that you're keeping up with the bus schedule on the app. They have an app that tracks it, as well as a bus schedule on dorms. So just make sure that you're aware of that. And if you are, you should be fine, but that is definitely a con. Another one that I would probably consider a con is blockout dates, which I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of, but we do have certain days that we are blocked out of the parks. So cast members have a schedule, and you can find it online. It's just Disney blockout dates for cast members, where we cannot go into the parks. So far, the past 2 months, I have had most availability for all the parks. I've just been able to kind of go whenever, and like before work, just grab a reservation last minute. The past few weeks though, it has been getting very busy in the parks due to spring break. So it's been harder to find a reservation and really make sure you're getting in the parks actually. We went for Ansley's birthday last week, and we had to make those reservations a few weeks in advance because we knew that they were going to get really sold out from spring break crowds. But the upcoming 2 months, we are blocked out of Magic Kingdom for pretty much the next month and a half, which is really sad. So just know that if you are coming here and your main goal is to just go to the parks all the time, you may have blockout dates, especially around holidays, busier times like spring break, summer, that kind of stuff. So that's something to be aware of. Usually there is at least, every week there should be at least like 1 or 2 days where there's at least a park or two open for reservations. You still have to make a reservation, but at least you're able to go to them, and then you can park hop to the other parks that are not blocked out. But something to definitely be aware of is that you can be blocked out from the parks as a cast member, and you're not always guaranteed admission every single day. Another thing that I would consider a con possibly is the hours. So for me, I knew I was coming here to work, and that was a priority for me. So I do not mind working, and I don't have a ton of crazy hours. I'm usually between 34 and 40-ish hours a week, depending on the day. But I have pretty normal hours, so for me, that's not super bad of a problem. I enjoy going to work. I love doing it. I know some people, though, come here not realizing that it's a job, and not really getting prepared to work a lot, work a full-time job, and what comes with that. So that is something to be aware of as well, that if you're coming here, you will be working hard. You will be working probably close to 40 hours a week, if not more. You will be working late nights most likely, because the CPs do a lot of times get closing shifts. That's not guaranteed, but from what I've noticed between my friends and just everyone around here, a lot of people do have closing shifts. So be prepared to work hard and work a lot. You can have fun and do things outside of work, but just know that if you're coming here, you are coming here to work for Disney, not just play around. I got like 5 or 6 people asking kind of about the cons and the things that nobody talks about with the DCP. So those are definitely a few. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I haven't really had any super bad experiences so far. I guess another con is housing. If you don't like sharing spaces with other people, then that's probably a con, especially if you end up getting a 2x2. You will be sharing a bedroom. If you end up getting a 4x2, you will be sharing a bathroom. So if that is something that's important to you, that could definitely be a con if you like having your full own space. The 4x4 does have its own bedroom and bathroom, but obviously there are still 4 people in the apartment. So just know that if you're coming here, as well as you will be paying rent and it will be getting taken out of your paycheck. I actually like that I kind of don't have to go out and separately pay for rent. I just kind of don't see it, and my paychecks are smaller, obviously, because of that. I know the prices of housing they've been increasing it, I think like $10 every year. So right now in 2022, it is currently $185 a week for a 2x2. It is $205, which is what I pay for a 4x2. Where I get my own bedroom but share a bathroom. And then the 4x4 is $225 a week. So those are the flat rates. They don't really change. I haven't heard of anyone getting charged for extra for electricity or anything like that. We haven't gotten any extra fees or anything yet. So just every week when you get your paycheck, you'll see it on there getting taken out. So you don't have to worry about rent otherwise. And obviously at the beginning, the first week or two, you don't have to pay rent because you're not getting paid, and your housing fees that you pay when you commit to your program cover that first week or two of rent. However, another question was asking what my favorite part of the DCP is so far. And this is really hard because I've had so many great experiences here already, but I would have to say specific experiences was probably getting to work the fairy tale wedding in Magic Kingdom last month. That was honestly one of the most magical experiences and moments of my entire life. It seriously was just so unreal, getting to see the castle all prettied up and Main Street all set up for a wedding. It was just so romantic and so cool. We got to see Cinderella's carriage come down Main Street and just seeing all the guests and how happy they were. And obviously the couple was just amazing. So that was one of the coolest shifts I've been able to pick up, and I absolutely loved it with my entire heart. I would do it again in a heartbeat. That's just like a specific moment that stands out as a favorite, but in general, just getting to connect with guests and learn about them, see where they're from, and all of that stuff has just been so magical and so amazing. I've gotten to connect with so many guests and stay in contact with them because of the connections that we've made over their trip, because in my role I get to see them every day of their vacation, and it's just so great to get to catch up with them, hear about their days at the park, and just hear how great of a vacation they're having. The next question is if working at Disney and seeing behind the scenes has ruined the magic of Disney for me. And this is a question that I get a lot, and the answer is definitely no for me personally. I know I've heard from other people that it has. None of my friends I've heard that's happened, but for me especially, I would say absolutely not. If anything, it just makes it more magical for me because I get to see how much effort we put into making magical experiences for our guests and how much work goes into everything that happens at the park. Nothing is accidental, nothing is just by chance. We put so much effort and work and time into making everything so great and perfect for the guests, and getting them the absolute best vacation possible. So that has honestly made it more magical for me, just knowing how much the cast members care, and how much care I put into my guests. That has just made Disney even more magical. I'm also a person who loves kind of seeing how things are done, how things are made, and behind the scenes in general. So that's something that's really cool and interesting to me. So I've loved that, getting to see behind the scenes and kind of how things work. I know other people probably wouldn't agree with that, or they might just see Disney as something different than I do, and seeing kind of behind the scenes and how things work might ruin it for them. But for me, I know that the magic of Disney is the cast members and all of the effort that they put into the parks. So it's just made the experience of Disney even more amazing for me. Another question is what my thoughts are on Genie Plus from a cast member perspective. I don't have too much of a direct cast member perspective on this because I don't work in attractions, but as a cast member that goes to the parks as a guest, I am not the biggest fan of Genie Plus just because of how difficult it's been to get reservations and kind of confusing for guests. I know that in my role, I've been working with guests that often have a lot of questions about it and have a hard time figuring it out. So from that point of view, it's been a little frustrating for me because I'm trying to figure it out with the guests as well. But honestly, I don't think it's too bad of a price. Obviously, I miss the free fast passes, but compared to things like Universal, like their Express Pass, $15 a day per person isn't that bad considering you can get on some pretty good attractions, and it also gives you the option to purchase separate attractions. I do miss FastPass Plus, and even more so I miss the old paper FastPass system the most, but I'm not the biggest fan of the system. It's okay. I think it just could be better and a little more guest friendly because we do have a lot of guests that are very confused about how to correctly use the system and get the most out of what they're paying for. I was asked if I ever get bored being in the parks every day, and for me that is a big no. I love going to the parks and kind of just wandering around and seeing new things because every time I go, there's something new to be seen, whether it's like guests doing something funny, cast members doing something cool, a little new addition that I just never even noticed, or just cool things that are getting added to the parks. Every experience is different for me going to the parks, so I just like being there and being in the atmosphere. And if I didn't want to go to the parks, I could just go home or not go, but I like to go as much as I can because I just love the magic of being inside of Disney. That's for me personally. I know some people don't enjoy going to the parks very much or don't go very often. So again, every person is completely different. But if you're like me, I love going and just being there, you know, just the environment of being in Disney and being in the parks. I just love people watching too and just hanging out there. It's a nice way to spend free time instead of just hanging out in my room. Favorite ride in each park and why is the next question. This is a hard one. First I'll go with Magic Kingdom. I will say either Splash Mountain or Space Mountain. A why is really hard. Splash Mountain has just always been one of my favorites since I was a kid. I just love everything about it, and getting the new overlay soon with Princess and the Frog is going to be so exciting because that is one of my favorite movies, so I cannot wait for that because I already love the ride. So getting a new theming is going to be so much fun. And then Space Mountain, I just love thrill rides. I love big roller coasters, so that one is just so much fun because I also don't remember it every time, so it always feels different even though I know it's not different. Because it's in the dark, I just never know where I'm going. Hollywood Studios, I would say favorite ride has to be Rise of the Resistance. That one I feel like doesn't count because it's just so on another level than everything else. But Rise of the Resistance is it's just genius. I love it, especially when it goes right and it doesn't break down. But other than Rise of the Resistance, I would say Rock and Roller Coaster is probably my favorite, or Tower of Terror. I have a really hard time picking. I love all of them. Maybe Tower of Terror, honestly. It's just a classic. I love it. Amazing. Animal Kingdom is hard because I love Flight of Passage and I love it with my whole heart and it's amazing. But Everest will just always have a special place in my heart since I was a kid. It's just always been my favorite. So I think I have to give Animal Kingdom to Everest. And lastly, Epcot, I would have to say favorite ride is Test Track. Test Track has just always been one of those rides that it's like you gotta do it while you're there. And especially the older version of Test Track, I was a big fan of that. I just liked the theming and like kind of like the more playfulness of the older version. But I love Test Track and that will always be one of my favorite rides. My dream work location is the next question, and this is kind of hard because I kind of got to do it a little bit. Getting to work one shift in Magic Kingdom for a wedding was absolutely amazing, but working in weddings is my absolute dream job. So I would say doing something with that in Magic Kingdom would be amazing. But work location, I am pretty much living the dream right now. I always wanted to work on the monorail loop, and I'm currently working at the Contemporary in the concierge lounge. So I always wanted to be either concierge, front desk, working in that kind of stem of the parks. So I'm honestly thriving. I've always wanted to work in kind of like a hospitality role, and my role is literally resort hospitality. So I'm very lucky with that. But if I had to pick another role, I would probably do merchandise somewhere or something with that. I would also love anything like convention guide or working with events because that's honestly my dream job. So in the parks, there's not too much with that, but a lot of the resorts, they have convention guides or working with different events. Or honestly, just anything in Magic Kingdom, you know that's my place and I love it to death. The next question was what my favorite places that I've been able to pick up so far. And for those of you who don't follow along on my Instagram, so far I have been able to pick up shifts at the Beach Club Lounge, Coronado Springs Lounge, and then I've also picked up shifts at Regal Eagle and Epcot, and I also worked as a formal event guide in Magic Kingdom for a wedding. So of those, not counting my home location, I would say my favorite was probably Coronado Springs. I loved working in their lounge. It was just gorgeous. I also loved Beach Club though, so it's hard. And I'm gonna try to work a few more lounges in the next month or two, just so I can try everywhere and say I did it and get new experiences because I feel like it teaches me a lot working in new places. Working in the parks was really fun. Epcot was just crazy, which I thought was so fun because I don't normally get to have that experience of working in the parks where it's just like insane all the time. So working in Epcot was really fun. I was at Regal Eagle at the quick service in America. I was just kind of the front there working in food and bev. And then Magic Kingdom obviously was like my dream pickup shift. So that probably has to take the cake, but I feel like that doesn't even count because it's just so on another level of amazing. So I would have to say probably Coronado Springs. And in relation to that last question, I got a question about how I pick up shifts. And once you have access to the hub and you're a working cast member, you can go into your schedule view and you should be able to pick up EHA shifts if you are eligible. So you do have to have the correct training that's necessary for that shift, as well as have the schedule availability for it. And if you're over 40 hours, just making sure that you're not going overtime, or if it is that you're overtime approved. But you do have to have the correct training for whatever shift you're picking up. It will show on your schedule view if you are eligible for it and it's on a day that you're able to pick it up. Otherwise, you can pick up untrained shifts on the Facebook pages. They do have a Facebook group where you can kind of pick up other people's untrained shifts because there's many like poolside and just random shifts in the park that you can pick up that don't require any training. Also, wherever you're working will have a Facebook group that you can trade shifts with people. So depending on what your role is, some people can go to new locations, some people can't. So it really just fully depends on what your role is. But if you have one of those groups and you can trade with other people, that's also an option to switch shifts. The next few questions are about applying for the DCP and kind of what that entails. So the first one I got was asking about what you should put on an application for the future and kind of how the applications work. So for the application, it is pretty straightforward. I know this is kind of cheesy, but just be yourself and put your best foot forward like you would with any other job. They will ask you the questions, so it's not like you just have to like throw at them everything in your life. They will ask you specific questions and kind of just answer it, showing off the best parts of yourself and your experience. So anything specific, you can put a resume if you want. I know a lot of people do. I personally didn't put a resume because you were able to put 5 job experiences in the application, and I put 5 of my best experiences in there that I felt were really, really strong and showed a lot of experience that would coincide with working at Disney. So I didn't end up putting a resume just because I had so much on there already from those 5 experiences that I felt that was going to be really strong for my application. And I did get accepted for the fall 2021 program first. I did have to decline due to school, but I got in on my first try with that, and then I reapplied for spring and also got in for this program that I'm here on now. I also got a question about requirements. So there is a requirement that you are a college student or that you have graduated, I believe, in the past year or 2. I know they've been kind of changing the requirements on that due to the pandemic, but I know before, I think you had to have graduated within the past 6 months. But now they might have extended it. I'm not sure exactly what those requirements are. I believe it's within the past year or 2 that you graduated that you can apply. So double check on that on the website for the most up-to-date information, because I know they've been updating it for the current application seasons. And then for GPA requirements, which I had a lot of questions about, it's just whatever is required to stay a student at your school. So the DCP doesn't have a specific GPA that you need to maintain. It's just whatever your school requires in order for you to stay in good standing. So if you're in good standing with your school, you should be good to apply and you should be all set. Another question about requirements was money. I'm not sure exactly what that was referring to, but I'll try to answer it as best as I can. I would try to save up before you come here, because obviously you will not be getting paid the first week or 2. Since you're not working that first week until traditions, you do get paid 8 hours for traditions, so you'll get that next paycheck the next Thursday, or if they change the dates, but as of now it's on Thursdays. But I would make sure you have enough money to at least cover moving in and all of those costs for that first week, groceries, anything you need to decorate your apartment. But you will be getting paid, and as long as you're going to work, and if you need more hours, you can always pick up extra shifts. As long as you're working, you should have enough money to maintain yourself, as long as you're not overspending or going crazy buying merchandise at the parks. I've been doing a pretty good job, I think, with managing my expenses and kind of balancing what I'm spending versus what I'm making. If I have a week where I have a little less hours, I try to cut back a little bit on groceries, or maybe not going to the parks as much and stuff like that. So just trying to bring your own food to work, that kind of stuff, are little ways to help save money. I got a few questions about Flamingo. The first one was if I'm enjoying living there so far and if I'm glad that I decided to live here, and 100% yes is the answer. I have had an amazing experience so far living at Flamingo. I know some people aren't the biggest fan, but I just really haven't had any negative experiences here. The only one is the buses, but that's not run by Flamingo, that's run by Disney. So that's really not an issue with Flamingo so far. My apartment is in great condition. I know that I was the first person to move into this apartment, so it was brand new when I got here, so I haven't really had an issue with any appliances or anything. The only thing that we've done is we had to put in a maintenance request for our water in our shower because me and Grace's wasn't getting super hot. It wasn't cold, it just wasn't burning hot, and that's how we wanted it. So we just put in a maintenance request and they fixed it really, really fast. They were on top of it. But we haven't had any issues yet. I've loved living here, and it's really nice being close to all of my friends and just being so close to property and all of that stuff. So it's very convenient, especially if you don't have another place to live or if you're not local. It's very nice to come here and have a community of all other CPs that are living here. And there's also the Flamingo Crossings events, like the Welcome Week events that happen pretty much every week lately. And there's always fun things going on at Flamingo that a lot of times you can only experience if you're living here. Also, the amenities are great, like the pool, the gym, everything like that is awesome. There's also a lot of spaces to study if you're in school and just lay around, relax around Flamingo. So I'm personally loving it, especially that I can watch the fireworks from my bedroom. So that's definitely a plus. Applying for housing was another question that I got. You don't really need to apply. When you go to accept your program, you will get asked if you plan on living in housing. I believe it was when you get your registration for dorms. So I think you'll sign up when you apply, if I'm remembering correctly, and then a few months later, or however close it is to your program, a little bit before your program, you'll get information to sign up for dorms and kind of register what your preferences are for housing and everything, and they will ask you if you plan on living in Flamingo housing or if you plan on living off campus. So at that time, if you indicate that you plan on living on campus, you will get a spot. So it's not like it's gonna fill up, so you don't really need to apply separately. That'll be part of your registration process and getting ready to go on the program. Okay, packing questions. So I got some questions about what is included, especially in the kitchen, and I would bring all of your own stuff if you can. There is obviously, so we have the sink, we have a microwave, we have the fridge. It's not super big, but it's definitely enough to fit stuff for 4 people, as long as you're not overbuying or having a million groceries. But they do include, I believe it was like 8 bowls and 8 plates, and then a few sets of silverware. We don't really use it that much. I use just my own stuff, and that's what most of the other people do that I know. And they do include, I think, like 1 pot and 1 pan. So anything else you need, like a toaster oven, coffee maker, all of that stuff, bring it yourself. I also brought my own silverware, my own plates and bowls. So any of that stuff I would bring. You do have a lot of cabinet space for that. So if you need a lot of stuff to cook, or you're planning on cooking a lot, you can bring all of that. But I brought pretty much everything myself. Also, we have the washer and dryer. So just anything you need for your laundry. And then with the bedroom, it comes with the bed frame, the mattress. It comes with a little rolling side table that you can adjust. It comes with a dresser. I think that's it. Bathroom. Mine had a door, so I didn't need a shower curtain. I believe some of them on East had tubs, so I think you needed a shower curtain, but I'm not fully sure. If you needed one, you can always buy one from Target or something after you move in, but mine had a door, so I didn't need anything with that. But it's not a ton that they provide, so you can kind of just decorate yourself. You don't have to get super nice stuff. Just make it livable, make it worth the time you're here. Okay, and the most important question of all that I got is, what is the water pressure like? And it's decent, it's okay. It's not bad, it is not the best I've ever had, but it is doable. My hair is doing good. It's dirty right now, but it's fine. We're fine on water pressure, it's decent. The water is pretty hot, and it stays hot most of the time throughout my showers. We do have really nice fans, and the apartment has been staying really cool, which is really nice, especially when it gets hot out. So that's really nice as well. We have fans in each of our rooms as well as in the living room, so you can keep it nice and cool in here. I got a few more questions, but I don't want this video to get too long, so I will definitely try to do another one of these a little bit later in my program. So keep sending me questions, and if you guys have any questions at all, just go ahead and throw them in the comments, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. I got a lot of questions about my role as well, but I'm gonna just make a whole separate video about that, because I know there are so many questions about my role since it's kind of new as a CP role. So I'm really gonna try to make a in-depth video about that, even though it's kind of hard to explain. I'm so glad that I was able to sit down and do this for you guys, but if you need anything else, just let me know. I'm always here to help and help you guys get ready for your CP, or just learn about it if you're curious. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.